Greetings, ChesCo Gridiron Insiders, family and friends. This episode kicks off our second season of covering the 13 teams of Chester County football. Last year was a banner year as two teams we covered, Downingtown West and Westchester Ruston, went on to win the District 1 titles. Hopefully, one or two of our teams can break through and win district titles again this year. We will kick off this week's show with highlights of 9 scrimmages from last Saturday. Next, I'll interview Great Valley Senior Captain Luke Helmley in our Spotlight of the Week segment. Tom Wolf and Mike Milano will break down Unionville and Great Westchester Ruston offenses and defenses to get you ready for the game of the week. And finally, a nice roundtable edition of coaches and sports writers predicting all of the Week 0 games. Stay tuned, but first, a word from our host at Studio One.
Highlights of this week's games are brought to you by Studio One, the home of ChesCo Gridiron Insiders for our inaugural season. Studio One also houses Sports Vault. Sports Vault is your premium provider of sports-related autographed and non-autographed merchandise. Sports Vault is the leader in licensed sports memorabilia, novelties, trading cards, and custom framing. Sports Vault is located at 520 East Lancaster Avenue in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. We are always looking to add sponsorship and join our family here at ChesCo Gridiron Insiders. This week, we are adding a Player of the Week segment, and pretty soon we may add an Upset of the Week that you can sponsor. Just send an email to and we can set you up with the sponsorship package of your choice.
In our Week 0 episode, we'll start out with highlights from 7 scrimmages around the area that occurred last Saturday in Chester County. We'll first start out with Garnet Valley traveling to Downingtown East and Cottmeyer. I'll be pinch hitting for Pete DiGiovanni, who's on assignment. All right. So in the first 10-10 series of plays, Ethan Ellis takes the snap here and runs a play-action pass. He's going to hit tight end Pat McCauley. This is a really nice throw by Ethan Ellis. On our next play, next play from scrimmage, Jules Robinson takes this power handoff to the house from 18 yards out. Sophomore Robinson looks poised to have a really big year for the Cougars. Expect to see a lot of him on Friday night. Speaking of really big years, 5-star defensive end Abe Sisse blows up the mesh here on this veer option. Look for a lot of tackles for a loss this year by Sisse. 2 series later, Garnet Valley QB struggles to get away from the Downingtown defense, and they swarm him and they cause a fumble. 5 plays later, Downingtown East running back Alex Rios punches it in from the 11-yard line. This was a well-played scrimmage by Downingtown East as they look to get revenge in Friday night's home opener against North Penn. Next up, we have Great Valley traveling to Springfield Delco. Great Valley quarterback Andrew Stanley throws a nice fade ball here to wide receiver Luke Helmley. Luke is our Spotlight Player of the Week. We'll have an interview with Luke later in the show. In the next Springfield D possession, nose guard Abdul Moore absolutely manhandles the center and blows up this play, 5 yards deep into the Cougar backfield. Towards the end of the scrimmage, running back Brody Camp takes this well-executed power play 13 yards. Great Valley will travel to Oxford next Friday night, looking to beat Oxford in back-to-back years. All right, next, the defending District 1 champs head to Lehigh Valley area to take on District 11 Power Emmaus. On the 4th play of the scrimmage, Jacob Barry gets immediate pass rush on the quarterback, forcing him to throw a quick pass, and is gang tackled by preseason all ChesCo Gridiron Max Wolfington and Zach Catone. Much later in the scrimmage, another preseason ChesCo Gridiron insider, quarterback Cole Bricker, escapes pressure and finds junior Brendan Good Kimball dragging all the way across the field. Great throw and catch here. Here comes another highlight play by Good Kimball as pressure causes the Emmaus quarterback to throw an ill-advised pass his way. Look up top. Here comes the pressure. There's a throw. Check out this acrobatic catch by Good Kimball. Awesome job. Look for big things from Kimball this year, not only on defense, but offense as well. Just 2 plays later, Whippet offensive line punishes Emmaus on this zone ISO scheme, and Jacob Barry barrels 26 yards for a first down. Downingtown West will travel to Bethlehem Freedom for an interesting opening week 0 showdown. Can't wait to see the highlights of this one next week. This game will be Saturday at noon. All right, let's change gears. We're going to move to Westchester East as they are hosting Central Power Strathaven from the Central League. On the very first play of the scrimmage, Chase Zelaz carries the ball for a nice 14-yard gain. Here we go, nice punishing run as he breaks some tackles and gets 13 yards. On the first Haven possession, defensive tackle Maddox Wagner does a great job of getting over this down block by the tackle. Gets over it and tackles the Panthers fullback for no gain. On the next play, Maddox Wagner beats the down block again by the Haven tackle and blows this power run up in the backfield for a loss. Teams might want to figure out ways to block Maddox. All right. It looks like he is going to have a big year. Later on in the down and distance portion of the scrimmage, Chase Zelaz carries for a 15-yard gain against a usually stout Strathaven defense. I'm really impressed with the Vikings running game in this scrimmage, showing some big physicality and toughness. Westchester East will travel to Academy Park for a 1 p.m. afternoon kickoff on Friday. I might try and catch the first half of this live before heading to our game week 1 matchup at Ruston. Follow ChesCo Gridiron Insiders X in order for all live updates of the action during the course of the season. All right, we move on to our next scrimmage. We have Oxford versus Christiana from Delaware. First Christiana 10-10 series ends with a boom as corner Jalen McLean destroys this slot receiver. Now Oxford has the ball on their first 10-10 series, and sophomore quarterback Nolan Neske plays a simple game of pitch and catch with junior tight end Matt Asti on an RPO seam pass for 75-yard touchdown. You don't get more wide open than that. Holy cow. Great design play by Oxford. Next Christiana series, senior cornerback Jalen McLean diagnoses and decapitates this slot bubble screen. Yeah, you might not want to throw any more screens to that side. As Jalen McLean I remember him making big plays last year. He looks like he's a player that's capable of playing in college for sure. Finally, senior Joel McLean tells his brother to hold his water bottle while he breaks off a nice long TD run here. And he's gone. I think McLean rushed for like 1,100 yards last year, so he's looking to have another big year. As mentioned earlier, Oxford will host Great Valley and try to extract some revenge from last year's opening season loss. Let's take a 15-minute drive down to Oxford as we visit Avongrove in a tri-scrimmage. The Red Devils front seven defensive players proved to be a well-oiled machine this morning. Okay, 3, 4, and 5 Red Devils corral the ball carrier. Again, nowhere to go as Avongrove defense proves to be stout against the run. All right, we have one more goal line stand as the H-back counter gets stuffed. Avongrove will travel to Warwick on Friday night to open the season. All right, finally, Coatesville traveled to District 3 powerhouse Wilson Westlawn. On the third play of the scrimmage, Matt Ortega Jr. throws a nice bubble screen to Quan James for a 15-yard gain. Three plays later, Quan James takes a fly sweep from Ortega for a 10-yard gain. Looks like Coatesville might have been one block away from taking this one to the house. Hopefully they'll get that cleaned up for Friday night and make it work against Garnet Valley. Later in the scrimmage, the Raider defense comes up big as 5-star lineman Max Hiller blows up this counter, and 4-star Penn State commit Terry Wiggins cleans up for a loss on the play. Here we can look at it again from a back angle. Nice play by Max, and there's Terry cleaning it up. And finally, Matt Ortega Jr. hits, you guessed it, Quan James on a 30-yard smash route. This is a perfectly executed throw, well-run pattern. Coatesville will be looking for revenge as they open up at home this Friday night against Garnet Valley. Stay tuned for our next segment as we have an interview with Great Valley captain, wide receiver, and defensive back Luke Hemley.
Rocky, Rocky, Rocky. Red 83. Rocky, Rocky.
Pete, thanks a lot. So we're going to get to the interview portion right now. We are with Great Valley's coach, Gary Phillips, and wide receiver, defensive back, senior captain, Luke Hemley. So, Luke, first of all, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your time. Coach, and they have a practice later on today, so we just want to kind of get to the spotlight interview section here. So, Luke, real quick, have you noticed any differences really between Coach Phillips? Coach Phillips is back, again, which is great to have him back at Great Valley. Any differences between his camps and his coaching staff between this year and last year?
Yeah, I mean, schedule-wise, we're a little different. We're here throughout the entire day during camp last week. And it's nice, being with the guys all day long, eat lunch, lifting with them, and practicing, not leaving them in the middle of the day and then coming back later at night. So I felt it was good for a team camaraderie and just being with each other.
Outstanding. Yes, that's great. Second question. Personal goals this year. Kind of if so, what part of your game do you wish to improve on?
For me, to improve on, I want to improve on my defensive skills, my defensive back, my free safety, run the alley, tackling. And honestly, I just want to win. It's my senior year. I've been playing with these guys my entire life. Just want to go out on a bang.
As a coach, that's great to hear. I don't want to hear too much personal stuff. I want to hear all team stuff. So that's great. If that's a trick question, you pass the test, pal. Plans to play in college or, if not football, another sport?
Yeah, I do plan on playing in college right now. Looking at some of the Centennial schools like Franklin Marshall, Dickinson, Ursinus, and also been talking to Denison a good amount.
Awesome. So not only are you are going to be truly a student athlete. That's great. Preference on offense or defense, and if so, why?
Not really. I don't really care, honestly. I want to play football.
Sounds great.
He likes the ball in his hands. He wants to play offense.
Every kid does usually. All right, there you go. Thanks, Coach. As you probably mentioned already, but every team has a personality or a specific trait. What do you think the personality of Great Valley Patriots 2025 team will be?
I think we're determined. we all share a similar goal here. We're all determined. We just want to win. We're in it together. And we've been working hard since December.
Awesome. No, that's great. How do you feel about your chances in the Chessmont South this year?
I'm confident. I love this offensive line, offensive line, defensive line. That's what wins you football games. And these guys, like I said, they've been working hard too. They're big boys. They're going to get after it. They're aggressive. They're finish ball.
Awesome. And then one last question. This is Pete's doing here. It might be tough to answer, but if there's a player, I guess, in your division or someone you had on your schedule last year that impressed you the most, who would it be?
Like an opposing player?
Yes.
Like that we're playing this year again?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is Pete throwing a curveball at you, so just do the best you can.
I thought Oxford's running back. He went for a lot of, almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns last year, and we opened up with him on Friday.
Yeah, now it's one of the McLean brothers. I think it's Jarrett. Now he's also the DB, right?
No, he's
Right.
He's a linebacker.
Oh, he's a linebacker. Okay, well, so the other McLean brother, he is playing DB, and everybody remembers from watching the current highlight videos. He had 2 of them on there pretty good. So, well, guys, thanks a lot. I can't wait to get over to Great Valley and check out one of your games. Good luck against Oxford on Friday. And, again, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for doing this and supporting high school football. Appreciate it.
We love it. Take care, guys.
Tom Wolf here for ChesCo Gridiron Insiders. Breaking down the defenses for our Week 0 game of the week, Unionville versus Westchester Ruston. We'll start with Unionville. On the screen here in gold, they scrimmage Conestoga on Saturday. And talking to Coach Tim Murphy from Unionville, he stated that defensive coordinator Craig Mann will be changing from an even front to an odd front defensively to take advantage of his linebacker depth and skill. So let's take a look at that first. When you talk about an odd front, you've got a guy over the nose right here, 2 other down linemen, and then you've got 4 linebackers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you've got a 4 deep shell defensively. Actually, that 4th linebacker is right there. So let's take a look at 3 plays. And as they roll here on this first play, we're going to see on this play, you can see how the defensive line kind of controls the line of scrimmage. And what that allows Unionville to do is to have these linebackers, these 4 linebackers, just fill a gap and make a play. And you'll see this right away. This is early on in the scrimmage. So we'll let this run. And you can see the big guys up front, the top big 3 up front, moving Conestoga's line backwards. And then these linebackers just filling and making plays for a tackle for loss. That's a real good look there. Real good look. Let's go to the next play, next clip. On this play, you're going to see some of the different stunts and blitzes that you can run with 4 linebackers and 3 down linemen. The defensive line is all going to, let's let this run a little bit. This defensive line is all going to stunt to the right. And this linebacker out here is going to come from space, time up the snap count, and rush from the outside. So let's let this run. The pressure causes the Conestoga quarterback who's trying to boot away after a play-action fake. The pressure from this linebacker who kind of times up the snap count real well. Quarterback ideally would like to get outside of that and have all this whole sideline to run with. But because of this pressure, he's got to pull up, and he pulls right up into the D line that's all stunning to the right. So let's let this play out. Good job here of pursuit and good job of assignment football by the Unionville defensive line. On this last clip we're going to see, we're going to show the athleticism of these Unionville linebackers that Coach Murphy and Coach Mann are so high on. He wants to have these guys on the field. The backside linebacker and play side linebacker both penetrate and force the Conestoga ball carrier wide. Okay, so the backside inside, and let's let this run, and then I'll put it up here. Again, you can see the backside linebacker shoots the gap. The play side outside linebacker stays outside and has contained, and this allows the corner and the safety to roll up and make the tackle. So again, good scheme, good aggressive nature by this Unionville defense on Saturday against Conestoga. And we're really looking for big things from this Unionville defense. And they're going to have to come up big against Ruston's vaunted wing T rushing attack. Next up, we'll take a look at Ruston. Tom Wolf again for Chester County Gridiron Insiders. Back to take a look at the Westchester Ruston defense, who will be going up against a very experienced and explosive Unionville offense this week in our Week 0 game of the week. Ruston took on Springford in their scrimmage Saturday. Ruston is in their traditional gold and navy uniforms. And Ruston runs a 4-down lineman, 3, 4, and 4 linebacker defense. Okay? And I always look for the tight end here, and then I would call this guy my strong safety, the strong inside linebacker, the Mike or middle linebacker, and then the Will or weak outside linebacker. So you've got a 4-man down front and 4 linebackers. And on this play, you're going to see Springford wants to run a counter tray. And when you want to run a counter tray, you got to be able to block down, and then you're going to pull a guard. And in this case, they pull the backside H-back to try to wrap through and block. But what you'll notice is, as we let this run, Ruston's defensive end does a real good job at the point of attack, holding his own, holding his ground against the tight end who's trying to block down on him. And he actually makes his play and blows it up so that the pulling guard has nowhere to go. So this defensive end actually takes on 2 blockers. And this allows the inside linebackers free run to come in and blow this play up for a loss. So let's take a look at this. We'll let it run through from the start. And you see it's just a real nice job by that front side defensive end to blow up the play at the point of attack and allow these linebackers to fill the gaps and make the tackle. And with Ruston, you're always going to see good gang tackling. On the next clip, on this play, you're going to see the strong safety for Ruston making a real nice play in the flat. All right? Springford's going to run a slant, flat, little 3-step, quick passing game combination, staple in many offenses. And this strong safety does a real nice job of padding the slant route. And what that means, he gets underneath the slant route and takes it away, but he also gets enough width so when the quarterback comes off the slant and hits this flat route, the strong safety is in a real good position to make the tackle for a minimum gain. This is real good assignment football by Ruston. Real good solid coaching too. So again, you can see the slant flat combination. The strong safety steps up for run, pads the slant, jumps the flat, makes a tackle for a minimum gain. Real good, solid, fundamental football play. On this third play, we're going to see the linebackers, and we're going to focus on more of the pass rush. So the first play, we kind of looked at the defensive end and the linebackers. Second play, we looked at the secondary and pass defense. This play, we're going to focus on the front four, specifically the defensive ends. We got a trips right, open concept here. Springford's a pass-heavy team. And these defensive ends do a real good job of getting pressure on the outside. And this is going to force the quarterback to step into the pocket. But you'll see this defensive tackle here makes a real nice spin move on this guard, frees himself up. And as we let this play run, the quarterback has nowhere to go. So this is going to figure in heavy with Unionville, who likes to throw the ball. They like to throw the ball. And you'll see again, those two defensive ends get a good outside rush. The quarterback wants to step up, but this defensive end or the defensive tackle is right there ready to make a play. And obviously with scrimmages, you don't bring the quarterback to the ground. So Ruston's going to need play all three levels of defense, the D-line, linebackers, and the secondary, in order to contain Unionville's experienced and explosive offensive attack. So it should be a great.
So here we are analyzing Unionville against Conestoga on Saturday morning, and we've got Unionville here running a verts concept. Conestoga's playing, I call it center field closed, cover 3, cover 1, whatever, one safety. So they're going to try and isolate that safety down the middle and let the quarterback either read it left to right or right to left. Here he looks left first, takes that seam ball. Again, with one safety in the middle, if you don't get lock coverage on the two slot receivers, the safety's in a bind. He can't be right. Quarterback makes him wrong and sticks the ball down that near hash. Real good concept against a center field closed defense. Here's a run game scheme, pin and pull. And so you're going to get two pullers. In this case, we're going to get the play side tackle in the center to pull with a reach block by the tight end and a seal block by the wingback here. A version of buck sweep, one back buck sweep. But you get angle blocks. You get a down block by the center, a down block by the play side guard, a reach, and a seal, and you get a pretty good alley with the running back. You get a kick out block, and the center's pulling in the alley, and you get a pretty good look here at pin and pull run scheme. Again, that's the center. The backside puller is the center. The first puller is the play side tackle. And that's Unionville with pin and pull working on the edge. Here's another good scheme, H counter. A lot of people run this nowadays. And now we're going to get two pullers again. This time it's going to be the backside guard, in this instance, this gentleman, and the H-back or fullback, depending on your terminology here, with down blocks, again, angle blocks by everybody else. In this case, the tight end over here on the left side is just going to kind of pass set the influence block. He's going to influence out. And there's the guard pull and the H-back insert. And a real good, hard, tough run, and ends up being a touchdown in the scrimmage on Saturday. Again, a good-looking play. I call it H-back counter. Two pullers, backside guard and the backside H-back. The last play in the scrimmage that I picked here is, again, another vert scheme. And we're going to get a look here. I believe they're in game situation. Yeah, and we got, third down and 2 sticks. So we were getting verts earlier against one safety. Now they're going to run some folks out of here. And I just call this Y over. So we're going to get the tight end as Y over with the wing back underneath. So I'm going to try and clear out with these two and work the middle of the field with the tight end. Again, it's third and long. So there goes your clear out up top. Here comes the tight end across and the Z across. And you can now see on the slot defenders up top, Conestoga kid turns and runs with it, which opens up the middle of the field. And that's a good-looking play on 3rd and long. Again, Y over to Ruston, scrimmaging Springford. And Westchester Ruston's a wing T team. So usually plays are in a series, and there are wing T's. So we're going to see buck sweep to the tight end wing side. And buck sweep, what that's going to be, it's going to be down blocks by the tight end side tackle, the tight end, and the wing back. The fullback's going to try and replace the 2 pulling guards. We're going to get high motion. We're going to get some high motion right here. And then that halfback's going to be your sweep player with the quarterback handing off and then getting some boot action, waggle action away. It's a great play. It's been around for a long, long time. And you can see the front side guard is going to pull and kick out the unblocked defender on the edge. The backside guard is going to pull and seal in the alley, hunting inside for an inside linebacker. The motion's 2-step motion. It's hard to react to from the defense. 1, 2, ball gets snapped. And you have that counter mesh inside with the fullback diving down to the A-gap. And you get that great alley to run up in. When it's done correctly, the halfback with the ball, the running back, is going to stick a foot and cut approximately 90 degrees. There's the foot. Sticks, cuts at 90. Great looking football play. A Ruston staple. Again, series oriented plays. So now we're going to get high motion again. I'll show you a lot of routes here. The plays waggle, boot, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to get some kind of corner route from the split end. We're going to get Y over. We're going to get a backside seam from Z. And then the fullback who blocked inside earlier is going to step inside and leak to the flat. But similar to sweep, we're going to get high motion and then a fake sweep to the running back. And now the quarterback who gave and booted away earlier is now going to fake it, and he's going to boot back in this direction. The big difference is, if it's sweep, both guards pull to the wing. If it's waggle, both guards pull to the open side. I know there's a lot on that screen right now, but here's a good look at it. So there's your high motion. To the defense, they're seeing the fullback downhill inside and the running back across. Looks like sweep, but it's not. Some teams work really hard on a play fake. We didn't, and it looks like Ruston doesn't either. It's just used to call it the proximity to path. The running back, the timing of the running back and the quarterback on path kind of holds folks. The split end up top runs the corner out. The quarterback gets on the edge. And the beauty of the play is linebackers are tremendously affected by the pulling guards. You can see both inside linebackers stepping up in the box here from Springford, which opens up the middle of the field real nicely for the Y over play. That's well done by Ruston. Again, series stuff. Here's Ruston running belly. Now we get motion. Instead of motion to the wing side, we're going to get motion to the slot side. Doesn't always have to go that way. Now we're going to get X block ISO. We're going to get the tackle blocking down, the guard trapping out, and this wing back is going to insert on a linebacker. And again, we're going to get high motion and a fake here, and really this play is designed to get the fullback the ball in the B gap area, and it's a belly play. Again, wing T staple. Tackle blocks down, guard traps out. You can see that here. You see the wing back take a little hinge step and insert inside the trap block. Timing of that's essential. Running back goes in long high motion. Quarterback reverse pivots. And the fullback chases the wing back up into the hole. A complementary play to belly is belly counter. Wing T teams, it's like a draw scheme almost. So here we have game situation. We have 3rd and 8, and they're going to run belly counter and give you some lines here. So what are we going to get? The ball's going to come back to the tight end wing side. But again, we're going to get influence, long high motion from this. to influence the defense to the open side, which would be the pass side typically if they were throwing. We're going to get an influence block from wide, but both this guard and tackle are going to go in here and wall off linebackers. The split side guard is going to trap. Fullback's going to dive like belly, and now this running back is simply going to take a rocker step and come back under the quarterback, and he's the ball carrier, and it's belly counter trap.
Rocky, rocky, rocky. Red 83. Rocky, rocky.
Thanks, coaches. That was really a good breakdown of Unionville and Ruston, our game of the week. Coach Milano's first attempt, and it was a good one. Tom, you're a warrior. You're always spot on. So let's get to predictions. Okay, so we have 10 games this week, 10 Chester County games. It's week 0, and let's start with the picks. So we got a tough one to start off with. We have Plymouth Whitemarsh traveling to Henderson. You know what? Let's start with Tom. What do you got?
I think Plymouth Whitemarsh had a good year last year, and I think they're going to continue. They're definitely a program on the rise, so I like PW in this one.
Pete?
Yeah, I like PW. They run that veer option, and Henderson's installing a new defense. That's not going to be easy for the first week. I like PW.
Yeah, I also like PW. We didn't get any highlights of Henderson on the video, but they struggled a little bit defensively with the scrimmage, which was the same kind of offense. So hopefully they make some good adjustments, but I am going to go with PW as well. Nate?
Yeah, PW seems like that kind of team. They don't have the highest ceiling, but their floor seems to be very solid every year. Just a tough team to start off with for Henderson, who's looking to try to get something rolling early on. So I go with PW.
Little sidebar here. Maybe this is our first of the year, but I was talking to Coach Bryce, and I can't remember if the team that he originally played, was it Upper Darby last year, right? So they weren't going to play them back, and he had a hard time scheduling a week 0 game. His options were Plymouth Whitemarsh and Bonner. So, not ideal. Coach Milano?
I agree. I'm going to agree with a lot of what Pete said. And having played Garnet Valley Week 0 before, I can attest to playing option teams early in the year is tough. Westchester Henderson with a new DC. I think the scrimmage with Haverford will help them some, but I think PW gets a win here.
Yeah, it says the guy that beat the hell out of Garnet Valley the second time he played. All right, let's move on to Westchester East at Academy Park. This is a Friday 1 p.m.er. Not going to throw any shade at Westchester East, but it's 1 p.m. on a Friday. I assume you're leaving the bus at like 9:30, right? Never fun to do. But in saying that, I'm still going to go with the Vikes. Okay, so Vikings at Academy Park, 1 o'clock. I'm taking the Vikes. Nate, what do you got?
Yeah, tough one for the Vikings. Just new staff, all that excitement, and then trying to get up for a 1 o'clock game in the bright sun. It's a tough task down there. Probably not a lot of fandom down there, but it's going to be. I think they're the better team, so I think they take care of business as long as they adjust to that day game.
Coach?
I'm going to go East as well. It might be a new staff, but it's a veteran staff, and my experience with Academy Park is they're better late in the year than they are early in the year. So I think Westchester East gets a win here.
Yeah, I like Westchester East also. I mean, Academy Park plays very well at home, though, down on that little field of theirs. But as Coach Milano said, it's an experienced staff. You have Dean Owens coming in. He's been a head coach before, and Steve Mitt will do a great job with the defense. I like the Vikings.
Before I go to Coach Wolf, I will, and I think we played Academy Park when I was at Coatesville 2 out of the last 3 years, and we played them really early in the year. Snaps always seem to be a problem for Academy Park. So Coach Minton and I were talking, and I said he wasn't familiar, didn't see him yet, and I said, blitz, blitz, blitz.
And special teams.
There you go. Very good.
If you can block a punt or you can block a field goal. I like from what we've been hearing and watching Westchester East film, they want to run the ball. They want to establish a run, and they're running some NT concepts. And I think Coach Owens and his staff are going to start season 1-0.
Yeah. All right. So we have everybody for Plymouth Whitemarsh, everybody for Westchester East. Let's move on to the third game. Elizabethtown at Kennett. Let's go. Let's start with Coach Milano.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about Elizabethtown, and I know I respect Coach Frazier and the program down at Kennett, so I'm going to go with the homer pick here and take Kennett in the win.
I will tell you that I know Elizabethtown has a new coaching staff, so that's not always easy. And yeah, Coach Frazier did an outstanding job last year. He always really does. I think I didn't remember. I think I picked maybe Kennett to win the league, so I'm definitely picking Kennett. Nate.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know Kennett's had some injury problems in camp, but I think they got enough talent. Gavin Ridge, Joe Alex Carbajal, the quarterback's back for another year. But I think they got enough skill kids to overcome any kind of injuries they have, and I think they'll be able to pull that out.
So Nate, thanks for the late information there on the injuries from Kennett. This is called ChesCo Insiders. You're supposed to let us know beforehand before we make our picks.
I think,
Pete.
like I said, they'll be all right.
I like
They
Kennett
got a great
here. They
kicker.
won second half of the season last year, and I think they continue that momentum against a team with not many starters back, from what I hear.
Coach Wolf.
Yeah, I'm talking to Coach Frazier a couple weeks ago, and he wants to get off to a fast start. He's got a good, solid veteran nucleus of skill guys, and I think they're going to be explosive, and I think they're going to come out with a good win on week 0.
There you have it. So we're all taking Kennett there. Avongrove at Warwick. I was talking to Coach Coffey, and he said this was going to be a tough drive getting up to Warwick. So let's start with Coach Milano.
You get me again first, huh? We played at Warwick, and it is a tough spot. It's a great location, but it's tough being down there. Again, I don't know much about Warwick, and I know Coach Coffey and the guys down at Avongrove are excited to get started. I'm going to pick Avongrove for a win.
Nate?
Yeah, I know we discussed this a little bit off camera, but I think just the road trip and a lot of newness. I think I'm gonna switch last second. I'm gonna go with Warwick here. I think it's gonna be a tough task to go on the road to D3, and I don't know. We'll see what Avongrove has in the stables, but I think it's gonna be tougher than it seems.
This guy's full of surprises today. He doesn't wear his shirt. He doesn't give us inside information, and now he changes up picks on us. That's awesome. All right, Pete.
I like Avongrove here. They're excited to get started, and I think they're going to build a little momentum. And I think they beat a Warwick team that they beat last year in a really tight game. I like Avongrove.
Coach Wolf.
I'm gonna go with it. Avongrove. I think Avongrove comes up with a win.
Yeah, I'm not going to go against Coach Coffey in his opener. I didn't do it last year. I'm not going to do it this year. So let's take Coach Coffey. They look pretty good in their scrimmage as well, defensively especially. The front seven was very stout. All right, let's go with Bishop Shanahan versus Roxborough. Let's start on the other end with Coach Wolf.
Shanahan, the last few years they've been starting with these Philly teams, and Shanahan should come up with an easy win here. They've been working out all summer. Typically with these city teams, they don't get as much work in the summer as some of the suburban schools. So I think Shanahan rolls pretty easy here.
Pete.
Yeah, I think Shanahan wins easy. I mean, Roxborough, I hear they're big up front, but, as Coach Wolf alluded to, these Philadelphia Public League schools, especially early, are usually disorganized. And I like Shanahan.
All right. Unfortunately, we did not get Shanahan video from their scrimmage, but a little birdie told me that they didn't look too sharp in their scrimmage. Saying that,
well,
I still will go with Shanahan.
That was early, but they did come on late.
I'm not telling who the little birdie is. Nate.
Yeah, I think Shanahan. I think all those kids coming back on the offense, Civitella, Aquila, Bracken, those guys all played together last year. I think they just get right back at it and roll pretty easily.
Coach?
Yeah, to me, this might be the easiest pick on the sheet here. Defending national champs coming back, playing a Philly team.
There might be one other, but all right. Now we get to what I think this won't be chalk. These are the probably the highlight games of the week, and we'll finish up with our game of the week. But let's start. Defending District 1 champs in the 6A Division D West, and Downingtown West will travel to Freedom. I mean, they should have just stayed over and practiced, right? I mean, they were already up in the Lehigh Valley area. Let's start with Pete.
Freedom won 10 games last year, and they have 6 starters back on offense, 5 on defense.
Yeah.
But I think the Whippets are very impressive. I think they're battle tested. They've been in a lot of close games last year, and they won all those games except the Shanahan game. I like D West in this one. I think they're a quality football team, and you know, this is a tough opener, but I like D West.
Nate.
Yeah, I like Downingtown. I think it'd be interesting to see, defensively how they look again. Losing some players over there, but obviously some key guys are back. It's just always interesting to you expect the quarterback to look good coming back, and you expect, obviously. I think that Cannon kid's going to be a really big surprise at running back this year, but I'm interested to see how the defense stands up against a tough District 11 team. But I still take the Whippets.
Coach?
I watched the Whippets in person on Saturday, and I've been looking at Freedom for a couple of weeks with those guys. And like Pete said, Freedom's the absolute challenge. So was Emmaus. I thought West was better than Emmaus, and I think West is better than Freedom this week too.
Can you give us a little bit on Freedom more? Like they throw the ball pretty well, or like what have you seen?
They want to run the ball.
They want to run it. Okay.
They want to run the ball. They're able to throw the ball. They want to run the ball. Like West. West is able to throw it. They've got some skilled kids that can go and get it, and a quarterback that can chuck it. But they also want to run the ball. Questions on West. The defense was great. They lost some kids, but I saw a stout front seven, and they had a couple starters who didn't play in the scrimmage in the back end who will play this week. It'll be tough for me to pick against D West all year, as you guys can imagine. I'm picking West this week.
We got bookended. I'm sure the other guy won't be picking much against D East either. D East played, I think it was, the Pittsburgh Steelers last year, and Tom picked D East. So, Coach Wolf?
Watching that Downingtown West Emmaus scrimmage, I was very, very impressed with Downingtown West. And it was a quality Emmaus team. We were going to win a lot of games, and I thought that that Downingtown West controlled the game. They can control the scrimmage, and if it was a regular game, I think they end up running away with it. I think they were really starting to hit on all cylinders right at the end of the scrimmage. So that being said, I like Downingtown West in their home opener against Freedom.
I also am going to take Downingtown West. I think it's going to be a really close, hard-fought game. Wouldn't surprise me if I'm watching the big ticket late on Friday and see, even though I already know the score of the game, a late punch-in or a late defensive stop. But I will take the Whippets. They are battle-tested, and they did look good against Emmaus. All right, Garnet Valley at Coatesville. Fortunate when you watched our highlights, we got to see both teams a little bit. Garnet Valley looked pretty good against Downingtown East. I know they fumbled the ball a little bit. And Coatesville had its moments, I guess, against a very good, District 3 Wilson Westlawn powerhouse. So the Red Raiders are at home. And in saying that, I'm going to take Garnet Valley. Nate.
Yeah, I'm covering this one, so tough to pick. But obviously, just going off of history for both these teams, just two powerhouses in District 1. I think it's a great way to start the season. You think about when West played them in 2018, that kind of set the tone for that district championship run. And then the following year, obviously Garnet, or maybe it was a couple of years later, Garnet beat West on their way to the district championship. So it's kind of a barometer game. I'm looking forward to seeing who kind of shows up. And I think Coatesville really needs this one. I don't necessarily have a reason to, X's and O's while they'll beat them. I just think Coatesville really needs to get off to a fast start. They've been a little off the last couple of years, so I think they find a way to get it done at home with their big boys up front.
Coach Wolf.
Watching the Downingtown East Garnet Valley scrimmage. Garnet Valley's a big team. Obviously, they want to run the ball. A couple new wrinkles the way they run the option, but again, when you're opening, as Coach Milano said earlier, when you open a season against an option team, you better be ready for all the little wrinkles that they're going to do. And I think we broke it down last year, EJ, with some of the things they want to do. Coatesville looked okay. I thought they left some plays on the field against Wilson Westlawn, and Wilson Westlawn, I think, pushed them around a little bit running the ball. So that being said, I'm going to give the edge to Garnet Valley in their run game.
Yeah, it's just, it's tough. I mean, I think they get worn down. They get guys out that are going both ways. And, now the next thing you know, I mean, they're getting gashed, you know what I mean? And there were some big plays that, our viewers didn't necessarily get to see that we get to see because, we have access to all the video.
I like Garnet Valley in this one too, Coach. I think the option is going to give Coatesville trouble. I think Coatesville's best chance is to run the football and run it a lot. But I just think Garnet Valley's option is going to give the Red Raiders a little trouble in week 1 or week 0. So I'll take Garnet in a close one.
And I don't know, I didn't hear, but I know in watching the scrimmage that Coatesville's running back had a slight niche, so not really sure what his status will be. That's only going to make it a little bit even more difficult. Coach Milano.
Hey, all these things we said about defending the option, the one advantage, if you play them week 0, you have the entire summer to prep for it. So that's if you're going to play that kind of team, I think playing them early or not early, but week 0, to be specific, I think is an advantage. I think being at home in this game is a huge advantage. You guys all said there's 2 historically really good football programs in District 1. Somebody said Coatesville needs it. I agree. I'm going to pick Coatesville in this one.
All right. Very good. Split. Excellent. North Penn at Downingtown East. Kottmeyer will be rocking on Friday night. As North Penn, the Knights come to town. 2 interesting guys will meet at midfield before the game for the coin flip. I'm sure they'll have a lot of interesting things to say to each other.
Both are refreshed and happy out here.
There you go. Yeah, I'm sure. Nate, let's start off with you. What do you got?
Yeah, I think, just talking about Coach Madden and Coach Beck, I think it's interesting that both of those schools, almost feel a little bit under the radar at this point, which is kind of strange because, North Penn was the bully for how long, Downingtown East, for how long now, West is kind of taken over around here. So I think Downingtown East has a lot to prove. I think, I don't think that 6-4 went well last year in that weight room and all those practices. I'm sure that's been harped on. And I can only imagine the messaging that's being put out there in Downingtown East. I think they come out plenty cranky and plenty motivated to show that they're back. Obviously, North Penn feels the same way. They're obviously still one of the premier programs in District 1. But I'm going to go with the Cougars. Just with a little bit more power up front to get it done.
Coach Milano.
Hey, up until a couple of years ago, I don't think North Penn had lost in Downingtown for a long, long time, and we were able to get them in 2019, and the Whippets got them last year. Tom, you know better than me. I'm not sure of the track record against East, but I know if Mike circles games, this will be one Mike had circled. And, Nate's talking about them coming off a disappointing year. They're playing at home. I'm going to pick the Cougars as well.
Pete?
Like Downingtown East in this game, I mean, North Penn's one of the favorites to be back in the District 1 6A title game. A lot of starters back on offense, but they improved defensively last year, but I still don't think they can stop the run effectively. And I think Downingtown East runs the ball down their throat.
I remember I actually attended the game last year. Nate, are you going to this one or no?
No,
Who's
he's
got
a
this
coach.
one?
No, I'll be Coatesville.
Right, you told me that. Where are you going to be?
Henderson.
Okay. I know Coach Wolf will be in attendance to this one, so make sure you show up at the gate ready for him to sign something.
Well, I'm a senior citizen. I get in free.
Yeah. You'll be.
Depends on which gate you get to.
Yeah.
Somebody's driving you to freedom, I'm sure. I know I took North Penn last year, partly because it was down there and partly because I was a big fan of the quarterback. Now it's at Kottmeyer. I think giving Downingtown East a year to prepare. I like the way they ran the ball in the scrimmage, and the defense is stout. So I am actually going to switch. We're going to get some revenge this time around at Kottmeyer. Look for Downingtown East to pull it out. I don't think they're going to blow them out, but I think they'll, win by, maybe 5 or something like that. We don't have to go to Coach Wolf. I know he's taking North Penn, so we'll just move on. Coach, what do you got?
In talking to Coach Matta, and he's very pleased with the way his team played on Saturday against Garnet Valley. And he talked about North Penn and how they've kind of changed their identity the last couple of years. You think about the old North Penn, and Dick Beck and 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And they're throwing the ball all over the place now. They're going spread and giving the quarterback free reign. I think that kind of plays into Downey County's defense's hands, the way they blitz and the way they disguise coverages. And I think Downey County's to pull this one out. I think it's going to be pretty easy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think as you said, I think the Cougars' defensive line with Cisse and McGowan are really going to cause trouble.
It's hard to throw a touchdown sitting laying on your back.
Right.
All right, one last thing. I know we take the prediction segment really seriously here. We score it. We take wins and losses. Now, I'd also like to add one thing that we can grade for next week. Will Coach Beck use all of his timeouts on offense before the end of the first quarter? What do you got?
I say
Over
no.
under.
I think he has one in his pocket at halftime.
One in
Yeah,
halftime?
he's
No
still
way.
in his pocket.
No way.
Yeah.
I say he's got one in his pocket at 12 minutes left in the second quarter.
I think he might call one on the coin
I think
toss.
he's got one left. I think he's got
I'm
one.
with Tom. One left. Nate?
I mean, all joking aside, playing Downtown East early on in the season is you need your cardio. So I mean, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
He's not calling it on defense. I guarantee you that. Tom, he's calling it at half. He's calling it at the coin toss.
He calls one at the coin toss.
All right,
I
I
think he
give
calls
you.
one after the first kickoff, and I don't think he has any left by the end of the first quarter.
I
He's
agree.
banking this year. I can tell you, he's banking.
All right, Great Valley at Oxford, another rematch of last year. I know Oxford going into Great Valley last year, and I believe that almost all of us, except for Coach Milano, who wasn't involved, and then
Oxford.
Nate boycotted the first show last year. Thank you, Nate. We all took Oxford, and Coach Wolf made us look foolish as he took Great Valley, and Great Valley absolutely, I mean, for the most part, after the first quarter, throttled Oxford, as Pete was there and took a beating from the Great Valley public. For all of us, really. So, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. I guess you're going to have to, because I am going to take Oxford again. Down at Oxford, I think there's the McLean brothers. There's something about those guys, and they're going to be tough to stop. Now, Great Valley, I thought looked good in the scrimmage. I really was excited for them. It gave Springfield everything they wanted in that scrimmage. So look for Great Valley to be good this year. I just think Oxford, is going to get revenge. Nate.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like a Friday night down in Oxford on that field. I like the way Oxford's kind of transforming themselves into a physical team. You think about some of those teams where it was just the quick tunnel screens and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure they still do that, but they have the McLean brothers who are physical runners and athletes with the ball. Got some big boys up front. Jason McKinney, got to throw a little shout out to the wrestler. So. I think Oxford, being the physical team that they are, it's going to be tough for Great Valley to match that the first week, under a new regime there. But I think they're going to struggle to match that physicality in Oxford wins.
Tom?
I think Coach Means from Oxford's had this game circled since last year, and I think he's going to have his Hornets fired up, and I think they're going to come up with a pretty satisfying win down in Oxford against Great Valley.
Pete?
Yeah, I like Oxford also. A lot of starters back, 4 offensive linemen back from last year. The McLean kid is a super back, and Means and his team are about as subtle as a Mike Tyson left hook. As Nate said, they're going to come after you and they're going to hit you. And I think Gary Phillips is going to do a good job at Great Valley, but he's got to transform a defense that gave up close to 30 points a game last year, and they may not be ready for this. I like Oxford.
Coach Milano?
I'm going to take Oxford too. New staff at Great Valley. Based on what I saw in the scrimmage, Oxford kids not only will hit you, they like to hit you. They're looking to hit you. They look very physical, and I think playing at home gives them the edge. And I'm going to take Oxford over Great Valley.
There you go. All right. Finally, our game of the week. Unionville travels to District 1 champ Ruston. That'll be, and I made a mistake. I was reminded by Coach St. Clair that it was not their first district title in school history. It was their second. They won in 2008.
Yeah, I was there.
This guy here. All right, so I apologize to the Ruston faithful. Unionville at Ruston, I'll be there. on Friday night. What do you think?
I think this is a match of the week. I think it's
I
going to be
agree.
a great game. Both teams look strong in the scrimmage. Ruston, I think, other than a couple long plays, really handled Springford in their scrimmage. And I think Unionville did the same thing. A couple plays by Conestoga, but it's strength on strength. I think it's Unionville's offense versus Ruston's defense. And if Ruston can stop Unionville offensively, I give them the edge. But I think Unionville, with a veteran quarterback, veteran playmakers, I think they squeak it out. I'm going to give the edge to Unionville.
Good pick. Coach, the other breakdown. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, Unionville was impressive. I broke that game down. Like what they're doing on offense. The veteran quarterback piece is big. I think that may be enough to keep them in it. But as we said in our preview show last week, until somebody shows me they can defend the wing tee and get them off the field so you have multiple opportunities with the ball, you have to show me that before I pick against them. So I'm going to pick Ruston.
You make a great point, Coach. Ruston, they'll use all 24 seconds of that clock, and they'll break that hole and walk up to the line of scrimmage, get 3 yards, and do the same thing.
Yeah.
And if you can't get them off the field, you're not going to get the ball enough to score.
And you go from 11 possessions to 8.
Exactly. Now you're starting to press.
Yeah.
Pete?
I like Ruston, but I think it's the closest game of the week. I think it's probably the most entertaining game of the week, and that's saying something when you have Garnet Valley and Coatesville and North Penn and D East. But I think the Ruston wing tee is going to cause Unionville a little trouble. And I think Coach Mike St. Clair loves his new quarterback, Max Blaine.
He does.
He has a real grasp of the offense, Coach told me, and I like Ruston in a real close game.
He said that Blaine probably would have started on most of his Ruston teams last year. It's just they had a 3-year starter coming back.
Dave McClain, yeah.
Dave McClain was awesome. So, unfortunately for Blaine, he didn't get the opportunity until now. Nate, what do you got? Give us some good stats. Give us something, pal.
Yeah, I don't have any stats on me right now, but I just think this is a matchup of of styles. I think if Unionville can get out and throw the ball a little bit, Drew Paleo, big. I think he averaged 30 yards a catch for a lot of the season last year. If they can get that play action and some of the deep passing going, McLaughlin, they use him out of the backfield a lot for passing situations. I think that's how Unionville wants to attack them. Obviously, they run strong with 4 returning starters, offensive line. But I think to beat Ruston, you got to hit a couple big plays. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see what Ruston brings back. I mean, obviously Garner. I mean, he looks like a tank at fullback. I'm sure they're going to get a heavy dose of trap and belly and all that good stuff right up the gut. And then they're using one of their D tackles. I forget his name, Khalif, I think his name is. But using another D tackle for a running back. So I just think it's going to be a bruising game that Ruston plays. And I don't know, my gut says Ruston, even though Unionville might have a little bit more experience coming back. I just probably like you guys said, you got to beat Ruston to get over them. So I'll go Ruston.
Yeah, I mean, I think Unionville is, watching the breakdown that we had earlier from Coach Wolf and Coach Milano, both teams are going to be playoff teams, right? Both teams might even win their divisions. That's how good. That's why it's called the game of the week, right? And we picked it. I am also going to go with Ruston. It's tough to go against Coach St. Clair at home. First game of the year, and he does, even though they lost a lot of seniors, he really does love this senior class, so I think they'll be able to run the ball, and when it comes down to it, again, this will be another 1-score game for sure. It's going to be close, but that's what I got. So thanks for joining us. Great show this week. Look for our X account. We'll be tweeting out live scores and situations and things that are happening during the game all on Friday night. So enjoy your games, and we'll see you next week.